Great, so welcome back, and this is question 597. Now, it's named friend request 1, overall acceptance rate. So this is like the first question in a series of kind of friend request questions. So it's an easy question, but there's a lot of dislikes on it or downvotes. So that's because it's really confusing. The question itself is simple, but the question doesn't really work with the tables that are provided. It doesn't really make sense, this scenario. So what you have here is a friend request table and a request accepted table. And in this example, you're given 5 arbitrary friend requests and 5 accepted. But here you can see that, 2 of these IDs, the requester and accepted, repeat. And so I guess in this scenario, someone must have accepted, then they removed them, and then they sent the request again, and they accepted it again. But this doesn't show that in the friend request table. So you'd expect to see another, sender ID 3 and, acceptor here in ID 4. So it doesn't all make a lot of sense. So, but essentially what you're going to do in this is that they just ask you that, and they tell you that the accepted requests aren't necessary from the friend request table. So you essentially just count the friend request table and the requested accepted table and just get the acceptance rate from that summation or count. And then the only other caveat is they want you to consider only the distinct requests. And so in this case, because these repeat twice, you just consider it as 4 accepted, not 5, because they're the same people accepting it. Okay, so confusing question, but I'll implement the code, and it's a simple answer, but it just doesn't make sense, this scenario. So why don't we go ahead and do it? So we're going to select our acceptance rate. So this will be just an alias for this selection. And we're going to perform all of this logic just in this select clause actually. So we won't even need a from table in this case. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to select all of the distinct rows in our friend request table, and we're considering the ID and for the sender and the send to ID. So in that case, it would be who they're hoping to get an acceptance from. So we'll select the count for all of those distinct rows. And this just comes from our friend request table. And then we're just going to essentially repeat this for the requested accepted table. And so now this is just going to be a division. And so this would then calculate, the acceptance rate. Now, one thing we also have to take care of is we want to round this to 2 decimal points. So in that case, we'll just wrap it in this round clause. And we're going to round it to 2 decimal places, so we insert that there. And so next, this final case that we also have to consider is just that if there's no request at all, we should return 0 as the acceptance rate. So then we once again wrap this in another function called if null. And so it checks that, if there's no requests in this sender friend request table, if that returns no results, then we just return the value 0. So this if null clause will check that and return the value 0 if this in turn returns no results. Great, looks good. I'll go ahead and run that. Oh, there's just an error. So the slight thing that I mixed up was just the kind of divisor here. So we should be dividing the request accepted by the friend request rate to get it. So we just swap these values. And go ahead and run that. And submit. Great, so accepted, and it's actually faster than 97% of the other SQL submissions in just 390 milliseconds. So pretty good solution, and not too challenging, just a very confusing question. So I hope that helps clarify things, and good luck with the rest of your algorithms. Thank you.